Alright, Shalom, and welcome to another show of GMS Collage, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. That's first and foremost. Also giving double honors to the elders and the apostles of GMS who rule well, and also honor and salutations to you other brothers that are out there who are teaching the word faithfully and sincerely, and who are of the hopeful elect, who are the sincere listeners and believers of the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Alright, so today is I'm gonna do something a little different. I found a video that I did back in 2012 about the RFID chip being the mark of the beast. So I decided to take it off the old channel that it was on, and you know, sew it together the best I could on using Camtasia. And you know, let the brother see it, you know, and see that, you know, through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, blessing the elder apostles to teach us this word. You know, we've been saying it since day one that the RFID chip is the mark of the beast. In this video that you're gonna see, this guy Nate. And he was talking shit back then, you know, saying that the RFID chip was simply just something to track people with. It was just a simple tracking device. So if your dog got lost, you could find your dog, and so forth and so on. And you know, he had comments here and there about it, but now in today's climate, 5 years later, 2017. The infrastructure is now in place for this RFID chip to really show its ability. And as I said in this video, as you're going to see, the RFID chip is not confined to its name. Its ability is not confined to the name of it. The RFID is just the name of the technology. It has nothing to, I'm not gonna say it has nothing to do with the capacity, but it's not confined by its name. So its capacity is greater than just an identification. As you're gonna see, and as you are seeing it now you can use that chip for purchasing power, right? And it may not be June, but the microchip is here. God damn it, the microchip is here, and it is indeed the mark of the beast. It is clearly the mark of the beast. Matter of fact, let me. I wasn't gonna do this, but let me do this really quick. Let's see here. Let's see. This is Revelations 13. Start at 15. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So what fits that? You know, as you know, you being a man of the Lord, you have to take what this scripture is saying and apply it to reality and what's going on today. And there is no other thing that fits that description other than that RFID microchip. So let's go to where is it? Right here. Let's see what the word mark is, you know. So you get the word. Let's play it.
Strong's G 5480. Charagma.
Charagma, right? And the word means a stamp, a stamp and imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. The mark branded upon horses, thing carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. You see? So this charagma is going to be something that's carved into you. What is fitting that description? the RFID microchip. And as you know, all these the last show I did, Verifone, which is a company that creates these or that builds or develops these payment pads, if you will, where you scan your right now is where you scan your credit cards and debit cards, but they have the capacity or ability to allow you to pay with your phone, and pretty soon the RFID microchip. And I mentioned in a couple of shows back, at my job they have that reader that allows you to pay with your phone, and obviously what's next is the RFID chip. So again, the RFID chip is the only thing that fits the description of what the scripture says. It's the only thing that fits the description of something being cut into you, an incision, a mark that you will that can deny your purchasing power. Right? I was talking to this Edomite at the job today, and I said, "Hey, did you see this pad here where you could pay with your phone?" He goes, yeah, I saw it. I said, have you used it yet? He's like, yeah, I use it at Dunkin' Donuts or shit. These people are gonna take that shit, man, with no questions asked. So he said, yeah, I use it at Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, something that I'm paying for really quick. And I said, yeah, did you hear about this the company in Wisconsin that they have a market similar to ours where they're getting microchips in their hand? And he goes, yeah, it's cool. And then he starts telling me about this Netflix show. I gotta check it out. I think it's called Black Mirror. Maybe some brothers have seen it, where they talk about all different kinds of futuristic type things, or microchips in the hand, or virtual reality, and they talk about different things like that. So I'm gonna check it out. I recommend other brothers to check it out too. I haven't seen it yet, so I haven't even looked to see if it's still on Netflix, but I'm sure it is. But anyway, I'm gonna let this video play, and you're gonna see that we've been on this thing where the RFID chip is the mark of the beast. And I asked a question to Nate and those who were against the idea of the RFID chip being the mark of the beast. Where are you now? What do you have to say now? First it was the RFID chip was just identification, and then we showed that it was more than that. Now it's okay. It's June, ain't no microchip, right? Now it's August 17th, and now it's here. So now what? There's no more potato chip games. There's no more jovial talk regarding the chip. Where are you guys? Where was all that confidence and pride and swagger, if you will, in saying that the chip wasn't the microbeast? Johanna, what's this other guy here? Shit, I can't believe. Oh, Zabak. Where are you guys? No one is saying anything. No one has said anything. We're the only ones here at GMS Great Millstone who are teaching the whole word and letting people know that RFID chip is indeed the mark of the beast. So where are you? So with all that being said, I didn't mean to go this long for this little intro. So with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom, and hopefully you enjoy the video. All right, shalom, and welcome to a show, GMS Boston. Giving all praises, of course, to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And double honors to the elders, who gave us these tools through the Spirit of the Most High to teach this word. And of course, honors to you other brothers that are out there teaching the word. Today's lesson is going to hit, briefly on the chip, because of, as you know, Nathaniel made the comment. He's been commenting on the chip, and along with the other guy there, General Gehenna. They've been commenting on the chip, and I did some research and I got some information on the chip, and I'm going to bring it out today. But I want to play this clip for you because Nathaniel 7 is his name. He made a comment about the chip being solely for a tracking device and identification. So I went and did some research on it, which is, what we're supposed to do. Study to show yourself approved, as the scriptures say. I went and did some research about it, and I found out, well, we already know that the chip is going to be used for more than just identification. But now we're going to prove it without a shadow of a doubt that this chip is going to be your whole lifeline. You're going to need this chip to live in this society. You're going to need it for everything. You're going to need it for your identification. You're going to need it for your finances. You're going to need it to buy things. You're going to need it to get paid. You're going to need it for your health insurance. You're going to need it to put your medical history on there. So that chip, RFID chip, is going to be more than just identification. Because people think, when they think of the word identification, they think of a driver's license or you go down to the city hall and get yourself a little ID. They think of it like that. But your identification, as you're going to find out, is more than just a card with your picture on it. Your fingerprints are part of your ID. The saliva in your mouth is a part of your ID. Your biochemical makeup, your biology is a part of your identification and who you are. And you're gonna find that out, that they're using that chip, and they have technologies to put all those things into one little chip, one chip that's the size of a grain of rice. All right, so I'm gonna start out. I'm gonna play you this clip of Nathaniel and what he said, and then hit a couple. But first, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hit some scriptures first. Matter of fact, how do I want to do it? All right, I'll go here so that the brothers can see it on the screen. Go here. This is the first one is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Alright. 2 Corinthians 2:11, it says, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." So we're supposed to know everything that our adversary has put in place. As he said in that video, he knows that the white man he's the adversary. So if he's creating something, don't you think you should go into it and research it and see exactly what it is, so you know what it is? You're supposed to know without a shadow of a doubt what things are, because that's what truth is. Truth is, there's no denying it. Without a shadow of a doubt, you know that something's true. You see, so you're supposed to search it out, and you're not supposed to be ignorant of Satan's devices. All right. So I got another scripture here. It says, this is Ephesians 5:15. All right. It says here. Give me a second, brothers. Ephesians 5:15. Why is it doing that? Bear with me for a minute. All right, here we go. It says, Ephesians 5:15. It says, "See then that we walk circumspectly." All right. Matter of fact, I want to see what that word circumspectly means, so that we can get a good understanding of it here. So I'll go here. Circumspectly. It says, exactly, accurately, diligently. So when you being circumspect, you find out things exactly. You find them out accurately when you're doing things according to the way the Most High wants you to do them. You don't just say, okay, it's an RFID, so it just means identification. You gotta go into it and you gotta research it. But that's something that those guys, those others are calling. That's what they don't do. They don't research. They don't do research. They don't do homework, and they even make fun of us for being the researchers that we've become. To be in this truth, you got to be a researcher. The thing that what is the thing that made the Bereans are more noble than the other churches? The one thing that made them more noble is the fact that they went and searched every day to make sure the things that they were being taught were true. So if you call yourself a leader of Israel, right, and you say that you love Israel, don't you go check to make sure that the things that are coming out and the things that are being implemented are potentially harmful. For instance, right? Say you have a kid. I'm a father, and for those of you who are fathers, if your child has a friend, and your kid wants to go have a sleepover at his friend's house, right? Don't you go talk to the parents? Don't you go see if the parents what type of history they have, and you go speak to them so that you can see their countenance and check their spirit out, see what type of people they are. So if you have something like the RFID chip with all this evidence pointing to it being the mark of the beast, don't you go check it out? Don't you go research it to make sure you're not leading your people astray? So that's why you got to make sure exactly. That's why you got to make sure accurately, and you got to check diligently. All right. So back to that scripture. It says, "See then that we walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time." So you're supposed to know what time you're in. We're at the end of this thing. We're at the end of this thing. So if the mark of the beast is one of the last few prophecies in this time that need to come to pass for us to get out of here, don't you make sure you know exactly what it is that the mark of the beast is, so that you don't take it, so that you don't become a part of it? You're supposed to know what time you're in, man. You're supposed to redeem the time. You're supposed to know what time you're in. It says this, because the days are evil. The days are evil. So you being a man of the Lord, so you call yourself, don't you make sure that you and your people that are following you are doing the right things without a shadow of a doubt? You're supposed to do that. All right. So I'm gonna play this video of Nathaniel, and you're gonna hear the statement that he made, and then I'm gonna go into a few things that I have here to show you that the microchip, the RFID microchip, is more than just identification. So it's gonna be quick. It's not gonna take long, but I just want to show you that the RFID chip is more than just ID. It's more than just a tracking device. It's more than just, you stick it in your dog, and your dog, it can be found if he's lost. It's more than that. That RFID chip, without a shadow of a doubt, is talking about the mark of the beast, and I'm gonna show you. Lord's will, we're gonna get into it. It's not gonna be quick. It's not gonna be long. It's gonna be quick. But here it is. Here, I'm gonna play this clip. All right. It says this guy, man. And then it reminds me of a kid when I see this guy, man. It reminds me of a kid. It's like I'm looking at a kid. Whenever you're a boxer or a fighter, or whenever you're going against if you play basketball, I played basketball as a kid. So whenever you're going against an opponent, you got to have a certain level of respect for that opponent. But after watching this clip, I lost a lot of respect for Nathaniel, man. I lost a lot of respect for him, and I see why the elders go so hard on you. It's hard to believe that you were ever even with the elders. The way you just your whole demeanor about you, you're like a child, man. It reminds me of a kid. But I'm gonna play this clip real quick.
Wow. RFID chip. RFID chip. What does it stand for? Radio frequency identification. But wait a minute. Did that mention? Read it again.
And he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Go ahead.
And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark.
Stop. So the subject is, with this particular mark...
Whenever you... Whenever you see a nigga scratching their head, man, they nervous, man. When I was a kid, man, and I used to lie, I used to get this little prickly feeling in my scalp, and I used to scratch it. You a lying nigga, Nate. When I look at you, man, you gotta watch this dude's his mannerisms and he's not sure what he's saying, man. This dude and Gehenna and the rest of them prophets 613 and all these dudes, they weren't sure of the things that they were saying. And you can see it in his countenance, man. You can see it. But I'm gonna play this video, man. This shit is comical.
You can't buy or sell. Can somebody tell me what a radio frequency chip has to do with that? A radio frequency identification is meant as what? A GPS. to find location. Where's my dog? A sister wrote me and said, my dog has an RFID chip. I said, well, maybe he can go buy some land for you. Simple as hell. A radio.
He said, simple as hell. We're gonna find out who's simple. We're gonna find out who's the simple one. All right. See, what they do, man. They try to belittle us over here at GMS. But our work speak for themselves, man. Our work speaks for itself. You know, you can't belittle the truth. You can't, and that's calling people simple. But we gonna find out who is simple. All right. Look at it. It reminds me of a little kid, man.
Identification chip is like you can find the location of whoever.
He thought he had the joke of the year. Nigga thought he told the joke of the year. So I'm gonna go into these couple of documents to show you that the RFID chip is more than just identification. All right. It's more than to go put it in your dog and have your dog buy some lamb. Dude, it was funny. That was funny. All right. Now, in 2009, the company Verichip teamed up with another company called Steel Vault. Now, with Steel Vault, the company what it specializes in is their specialty is identity theft. All right. Now, with this acquisition of this this other company, what it did was it made the Verichip from being just a medical device to transfer it into a financial device also. Why? Because when you steal somebody's identity, what are you trying to do? What you do? You might sign up for a phone. You might have your cable bill underneath somebody else's identity. It's always about money. When you steal somebody's identity, you don't steal it because you think they got a pretty name. You steal it because you want their money. You want to spend money some way, somehow with their name. All right. So with the acquisition of this with Verichip teaming up with this company Steel Vault, what it did was it made that chip more than just a medical thing or a tracking device. It made it more than that, and now it made it a device where you can use it as far as money. All right. So it says here, this is 9/9/2009. All right. It says Verichip Corporation, Verichip, a provider of RFID systems for healthcare and patient-related needs. You see, so at first it already right there. Verichip itself was more than a company that was used just for tracking. See, he took the word RFID and thought it was just a tracking device or an identification. But there's many forms of the RFID chip. There's RFID chips in credit cards. There's RFID chips in some clothing. They got RFID. There's all types of manufacturers for the RFID chip. The RFID chip is not specific to human needs. The Verichip company was the company that created the RFID chip for human specific needs, as far as healthcare and different things like that you as a person need. All right. It says it says a provider of RFID systems for healthcare and patient-related needs, and Steel Vault Corporation, a premier provider of identity security products and services, announced that Verichip has agreed to acquire Steel Vault and form Positive ID. All right, now remember that name. So now it's not, Verichip is not known as that name anymore. It's not known as Verichip anymore. It goes by the name of Positive ID with the acquisition of the two companies being put together. To form Positive ID Corporation to offer identification tools and technologies for consumers and businesses. You know what? Since that Brother Adama's video got cut down, because the truth was fire. Since it got cut down, I want to go into that word consumer so we can see what that word means. Alright? Let's see what a consumer is. Alright? Consumer. One that consumes, especially one that acquires goods or services for direct use or ownership rather than the resale or use in production and manufacturing. So there's when you that's for you, Gehenna. So when you're a consumer, it doesn't have anything to do with resale or manufacturing. So it doesn't matter about rubber and wood to make goods. It's talking about you. When you're a consumer, when you go to the grocery store and buy apples, I doubt he buys fruit. But when you go to the grocery store and buy whatever you buying those things as a consumer. For you, not to resell it, not to manufacture or something. You're buying it as a consumer. All right. It says a heterotrophic organism that ingests other organisms and organic matter in a food chain. For instance, something that eats something. When you eat food, you're consuming food. You're consuming it. So it can mean either one. But for financial purposes, for the purpose of money and buying things, consumer, we can all agree that it's talking about this first definition. One that consumes, especially one that acquires goods or services for direct use or ownership rather than for resale or use in production and manufacturing. So I'm going to go back to this article here. It says, I'm going to start at the top again. It says, Verichip Corporation, a provider of RFID systems for healthcare and patient-related needs, and Stillvault Corporation, Stillvault, a premier provider of identity security products and services, announced that Verichip has agreed to acquire Stillvault and form Positive ID Corporation to offer identification tools and technologies for consumers and businesses. So the RFID chip is more than just identification and a tracking device for your dog. It says, in conjunction with the merger, Verichip plans to change its name to Positive ID and continue to trade on the NASDAQ. Positive ID intends to change its ticker symbol to PSID upon closing of the transaction. The formation of Positive ID represents the convergence of a pioneer in personal health records. So already, personal health records is also talking about, for instance, with this RFID chip, what they're going to do, your insurance information is going to be on there. Your health records are going to be on there. As far as if this person is a diabetic, if this person is if he's allergic to any medications, that information is going to be on that computer chip. All right. It says Verichip, with a leader in the identity security space, Stillvault, focus on access and security of a consumer's critical data. For instance, you think they scan your driver's license in the liquor store because they want to check how old you are. They scan that so they can keep track of the liquor you buy, or and then you get an email or in the mail. Do you need help because you're an alcoholic or whatever? That's why they scan that, so they can keep track of your consumption habits. And it says it here. I'm gonna read it again. It says, with a leader in the identity security space, Stillvault focus on access and security of a consumer's critical data. So to see what you buy. All right. See, it's a very the elders had made a point. In all seriousness, I'm laughing at these niggas, but in all seriousness. The elders made a point. The mark of the beast being the microchip is not a deep thing, man. It's not a thing where you gotta go into it and find out. It's simple. John said, and what you have to do, you have to put the scriptures in perspective. When John saw these things, the Lord brought him into that vision, and he could see. He was looking exactly at what was going on. And the brother Adama, he made a point when we were speaking amongst each other. He said this: Whenever there was a prophet that didn't understand a vision that he received, what in turn happened? Like in Daniel's, when he didn't understand a vision, the angel then explained it to him. Same thing in the book of Revelation with John. When John, there was something that John, he said, what meanest thou by these? And he explained it to him. But the chip, it didn't have to be explained because it was straightforward. That's what the conversation, between me and Adama had that thought. It was straight. The reason why there was no need for an explanation, the chip is a simple thing, man. It's going to be something that's implanted in you. That's why he used the word charagma was used. That's why the word charagma was used. Because it's going to be something that's implanted. It's not a difficult thing, man. But what happens is, like we always say that, especially here in Boston, we always say that they're not teaching to teach Israel the truth. They're teaching opposite or to oppose what we say. So we can say anything, everything that comes out of our mouth is truth. But because we said it, they got to say the opposite of it. They're not teaching to teach you the truth. They're teaching you so that it can be the opposite of what we're saying, so that they can discredit us. But in turn, they make themselves look like fools, man. They make themselves look like idiots. All right? It says this. The companies believe that joining personal health records and identity security solutions provides a solid foundation for organic growth and a strong, flexible platform for future offers. Under terms of the agreement, StillVault stockholders will receive 0.5 shares of Verichip common stock for every share of StillVault common stock held. The outstanding stock options and warrants of StillVault will also be converted at the same ratio. So that's just going into, who owns it and all of that stuff. But the point was made that the chip is not just talking about identification or something you put in your dog so you can find it. All right. Now let's go to I want to go to one more site. It's called Positive ID, which was now what Verichip and StillVault together call themselves. All right. Now, if you go on the website, it's positiveid core.com. Now this here is the website. Now if you simply just do the research, you'll find out that chip is more than just identification, man. And even the simple word identification is more than just seeing who you are, because another form of identification, not just a card that got your picture on it, but your fingerprints are a form of identification, right? And they already have technology in the work.
Ilona, thanks. Well, some new technology is helping to make sure young kids cannot lose their school lunch money. As Daniel Seberg explained, some schools are setting up prepaid accounts that students access with the touch of their finger.
At lunchtime, the students of the West End Elementary School in Rome, Georgia, use their fingers for more than just eating.
Go ahead, Packer.
They also use them for identification in paying for their lunch. The children's parents prepay into an account and deductions are made each mealtime. The finger scans ensure that each child's meal is deducted from the correct account.
It's just scientific.
In the past, Rome, Georgia students scanned barcode cards or punched PIN numbers into a keypad to get their meals. But the cards would get lost or damaged, and the PIN numbers would be forgotten or mistyped. There's no forgetting or losing fingers.
It has dramatically increased our time of getting our students through the line more quickly and efficiently. In this particular school, we have cut the lunch serving time 20 minutes, and we still have kindergarten, first and second grade to implement.
School Nutrition Director Barbara Carter says the scanning system is secure. It's not connected to the internet, only the cafeteria server. And it records only 7 points on a finger, not a full fingerprint.
Where you can go to the grocery store and pay with your fingerprint. There's schools in the United States where the kids can pay for their school lunch instead of having a card or a ticket with their fingerprint. So so identification is more than just a picture, a card with your picture on it. So you gotta search these things. So they got this thing here They got a couple of different things that they're working on, but I in particular wanted to go to this one here. It's called the glucose chip. And if you go on the website, you can go in and there's a lot of things that they're trying to do with the RFID technology. See, the RFID is just the name that they put on the technology, but its function is something completely different. If you go, well, not necessarily different, but it's broader than it just being identification. But RFID, radio frequency identification, is just the name of the technology, but its function and its abilities are so vast that you have to check it. You have to check it, and this has to be the mark of the beast, man. This RFID chip has to be the mark of the. There's nothing else on planet Earth that this can possibly be. All right. So going to this here, this glucose chip. All right. It says here. This is just a little, history on the glucose chip. Down here, they got a little diagram to show you how it works. But I'm just gonna read a little bit of it, just to make the point, and then we'll move on. I got another couple of scriptures here that I want to read, and then that'll be it. Lord's will, the point was made. But I'm gonna just read a little bit of this, and we'll take it from there. It says this glucose chip. All right. Taking the capabilities of RFID. So it's not just talking about identification, it's talking about the capabilities, what it's able to do, the function of it, all right? Taking the capabilities of RFID implantable microchips beyond simple identification. This is on their very own website, the Positive ID website. It says this, I'm going to read it again. Taking the capabilities of RFID implantable microchips beyond simple identification. So the RFID is used more than just for ID. Alright? It says Positive ID received a patent in 2006 for an embedded biosensor system that combines an embedded biosensor system on an implanted RFID microchip. One potential application of this biosensor system is an implantable biosensing RFID microchip that measures glucose levels in the body in real time. So this microchip, once it gets put in your body, it's going to act as a living organism. For instance, when a germ goes into your body, right? What happens? Your white blood cells goes and attacks it. So this works along with your body. When your glucose levels get low and get to a certain level, this chip that they're gonna put inside you will measure it. And when I read on further, what it does, it creates a whole database. It creates a whole log of the date that your glucose dropped, why it dropped, what you need to do to bring it up. This thing is intricate, man. This thing is more than just identification. It says this: to advance this application, Positive ID partnered with Receptors LLC, an expert in the field of proteomics and the development of artificial receptors, to develop a prototype level glucose sensor to use in conjunction with an implantable biosensing RFID microchip to measure glucose levels in the body. Receptors has successfully completed phase 1 and phase 2 of the project. So they're doing this. This is not something that's in the works. It's not something that's in somebody's mind somewhere or in somebody's notebook. They're doing it, man. They're creating this thing. All right. It says in phase 1 of its glucose development, Receptors LLC successfully prepared prototype samples for both the glucose selective binding environment and the glucose competitive signaling component. So it says this, glucose selective binding, which means that chip is going to bind with your chemical makeup. How else can it read your glucose levels? Because when you think of a computer chip is something like hard or something that you would think in your mind is electronic. How can it read the level of your glucose inside your body? It has to bind with your body. So once you put this chip in your body, there's no getting it out. It's going to bond with their chemical makeup. It's going to be a part of you. Just like if you cut your heart out. If you cut your heart out, what happens? Your body shuts down. The same thing with this RFID chip. Once you cut it out of your body, everything that you know as your part of your existence is going to be out of here. And you're going to be invisible to this world. You're not going to have no money. You're not going to have no health insurance. You're not going to have nothing. You're not going to have anything. So that's all I wanted to read to show you. I mean, you can go on the website and read a little further. I didn't really, understand the exact way it worked. But, I mean, as far as this diagram is concerned, but it's pretty straightforward. It has to be a part of your body. It has to bind with your body. So it's pretty straightforward, you see. So, you can go on the Positive ID website and check it out for yourself. But, that's just to show you that it's more than just identification, man. This whole thing with this chip is more than just ID. It's more than just an ID. It's more than a tracking device. It's more than that. It's the mark of the beast, like the scriptures say it is. You see? But like I said, they don't teach to teach truth. They teach to teach contrary to what we're teaching. You see? And like the scriptures say, you're not supposed to teach in envy and in vain glory. They want to be on a certain level so bad that they don't even check things out. It's just whatever we say, it got to be the opposite of that, because GMS said it. It got to be the opposite, And that's a wicked spirit to have on you, man. To teach in envy. I don't like to use the word jealousy because the Most High has a jealous power over His people. They're not jealous of us. They're envious of us, because the Most High is working through this label that we put on ourselves, GMS. It's just a name, man. It's just a name. It's really what we the umbrella we under is Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. That's the real umbrella that we under. And we just just simple men trying to push the word, man. But they, like I said, they want to be contrary to us. They want to do or say the exact opposite of what we're saying, no matter what it is we're saying. All right, so I'm gonna hit these last couple of scriptures, and then we'll be done. So I'm gonna go back to this right here. This is Colossians 4 and 5. Okay, it says, walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. There goes that, redeeming the time again. You gotta know what time we're in. We're in the last days, man. That's evident. And in these last days, the Most High told us that there was going to be some form of a mark that was going to be put in our bodies. So it's your duty as a man of the Lord to figure out what that is. All right. It says, let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. So if your congregation comes up to you and say, should I get the chip, Nathaniel? How you gonna know how to answer him? How you gonna know how to answer him? Because you don't even know what the chip is. Clearly, because you said it's just identification and a tracking device, and clearly it's more than that. Clearly it's more than that. So how are you gonna answer your congregation when they say, should we take the chip? Are you gonna tell them to take it? And then are you gonna take it? And if you don't, why? Why are you not taking it? If you're not going to take it, why are you not taking it? And if you do take it, you out of here. You out of here. The Most High is going to destroy you if you take that chip. All right? So I'm going to go to this one last one. It's 1 John 3 and 18. 1 John 3, 18. All right? It says this. My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. So if you're gonna say you love Israel, you gotta work to warn Israel. That's what matter of fact. Let's go to the word deed and see what the word deed means. All right. It says here, deed, something that is carried out or an act or action. So if you say you love Israel, you can't just say I love. I used to have to tell people, don't say love to me. Don't tell me love. Do love. Love is a verb. Love is not an adjective. It's a verb. You do love. Love is an action. So you got to work to show that you love Israel. All right. I'll finish reading the definition. It says a usually praiseworthy act. A praiseworthy act. An act that's worthy for someone to say, you know what, that man is doing his job, man. I know that this man is a man of the Lord. Like me, and I'm sure I can speak for the rest of the brothers that are out here in these camps that are underneath GMS. We know without a shadow of a doubt that Elder Tahar loves Israel. That Elder Gabar and the rest of the elders, or Elder Ramlab, Elder Rakar, on down, they love Israel because they work. They constantly in these scriptures and in current events and things that are going on so they can give us this word, man. With you, I can't say the same thing. Because you don't even know what an RFID chip is and what it's capable of doing. Like I said, you just want to be contrary to what we're saying. It says this: a feat or an exploit, action or performance in general. And it has a sentence here, and this is a good sentence. It's not in the Bible, but it's good as gold. This statement here, because it's saying the same thing that scripture just said. Deeds, not words, matter most. Deeds, not words, matter most. So it's about doing this work, man. Figuring out what's true and what's not. Rightly dividing the word of truth, like the scriptures say. Alright? So let's go back to this scripture here. It says, and hereby we know that we are of the truth, and shall assure our hearts before him. Let me look up that. I'm going to see what that word assure is. Alright? It says this. I'll let this little guy here say it because I can't pronounce it.
Strong's G 3982. Pytho.
Alright, pytho, which means persuade. To persuade, for example, to induce one by words to believe, to make friends of, to win one's favor, gain one's goodwill, or to seek to win one, strive to please one. Who's that one that you're striving to please? The Most High. To tranquilize, to persuade unto, move or induce one to persuasion to do something, be persuaded, to suffer oneself to be persuaded, to suffer oneself to be persuaded. And it says what? Let me go back. It says this. And hereby we know that we are of the truth and shall assure our hearts before him. So you got to know in yourself that what you're teaching is true. For your own consciousness, you have to know that it's true. So to appease your consciousness, you got to say you got to search it through and through, man, like the Bereans did. I can easily take the elder's word for something, man. All of us, we can easily take the elder's word for us because I know they're not lying. The spirit of this Bible said they're not lying. So I can easily take their word for it. But what do you have to do? They condone us to do this work. They condone us to research, to practice, to do it over and over and over, so that you can know in yourself, not to assure them, because they know this word already. They don't do it so that they don't tell you to do that so that they can be sure. They do it so that you can be sure in yourself. All right. It says this. It says and hereby we know that we are of the truth and shall assure our hearts before him. For if our heart condemn us, God is greater than our heart and knoweth all things. For instance, if your consciousness is telling you, damn, I'm not really sure about this, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't tell him, or maybe if you're unsure in yourself, the Most High is greater than your conscience, because he created your conscience. So if your conscience is condemning you, then the Most High is going to condemn you. So you got to be sure in what you say. When you go out there and you're teaching, you got to be sure of what you say, man. It says, for if our heart condemn us, God is greater than our heart and knoweth all things. Beloved, if our heart condemn us not, then we have confidence toward the Most High. You see? We have confidence towards the Most High because we know without a shadow of a doubt that this Revelations 13 and 16 is without a shadow of a doubt talking about this RFID chip. There's no doubt in my mind. It can't be talking about anything else. It can't be. It says this, and whatsoever we ask, we receive of him, because we could keep his commandments and do those things that are pleasing in his sight. And it's pleasing to the Most High to see a man trying to figure out what needs to be taught to Israel, man. That's pleasing to the Most High. Alright? So for those of you following Nathaniel, for those of you who are sincere and really believe in this truth, get away from that dude, man. For those of you that follow Gehenna and you really believe in this word, get away from that nigga, man. Because what does it say about blind leading the blind? They both fall into a ditch. So get away from them niggas before you in a ditch somewhere waiting for the missiles to come, man. Alright? So that was it. That was all I had. The RFID chip is talking about the mark of the beast. And for those of you who think it's not, you off, man. You off, and it's as simple as just researching. And the Spirit got to be dealing with you, but it's evident who the Spirit is dealing with. It's over here at GMS, So first and foremost, again, I'd like to give all praises, the most high praises to Yahweh B'Ashem Yahweh Shai for giving us this word and allowing us to be chosen to teach this word. We're unworthy, but he put us in this position to teach Israel. Second, double honors to the elders for giving us the tools to figure out how to research, and honors and much respect to you other brothers that are out there teaching this word. And that was it. And keep pushing this word. Hold on, whatever trials and tribulations you got in your life. We in the home stretch, man. Shit is almost over. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.